What's going on? It's your boy Trey, and welcome to When Can I Talk? So, I just told the story about what happened with that. I want to go ahead and continue on to that. I want to go ahead and give these few stories, get these out, a little of them at a time, because I feel like they're. I just started doing this, so I want to make sure I got it out there. Okay. All right. So, as we last ended, we ended with Big Girl and me telling on her and Paige. Now, this story is strictly about me, but it will add to the further story of the rise and fall. So, at this point, we had a drummer, and this drummer was named Drummer Boy. His name's not important at all, okay? But his name was Drummer Boy, and Drummer Boy he was a great singer, great player. Smelled like butt cheeks, though, with his breath. That's the only thing I didn't like about him. His breath always smelled like he drank coffee, and it smelled like he drank coffee and then did something. It's like he had an infection in his mouth, and I don't mean that rudely, but I mean that's just what it smelled like. So anyway, so he was one of our great drummers. I was really good friends with this Drummer Boy. We had a lot of good times together, and he would tell me about how to play the drums, right? Now, I was a drummer a little bit before I met him, but nowhere nearly as skilled by the time. So when I met him, he taught me a lot when it came to drumming, right? And so this Drummer Boy, he ended up leaving eventually, and I was trying. So when you're at this kind of church, if you've ever been to a church, these bigger churches where being a part of the worship team is the best thing on earth, right? So that's where I was trying to get to, because I thought I made me the cool guy. I was only 19, 20-ish. I thought I made me the cool guy. It would raise my standards in the church. You know, I'd have some kind of bravado about me. So I was working my ass off. So when the Drummer Boy left, I would practice and practice and practice and practice to the point where I made a key that I shouldn't have made, but I made a key anyway. I made a key to this place. This is all 10 years ago. I made a key to this, I got a key and I copied it. Wasn't technically allowed to copy the key, but I did. So I copied the key, and that would allow me to go in here and practice every day. So every now and then I would go in here and I would practice playing the drums. So I got really good. I mean, really good, because music is my thing. I've been in music my whole life, dang near. So I understood music, I understood rhythm. I can dance, I can play, I can sing, I can rap. So all these things were gonna come natural to me. So playing the drums, which came natural to me, I got really good, like perfect on timing. Played the drums well. Knew every song by heart. All this stuff. I mean, I had every song down to the T. I practiced so hard. And so when I finally became a drummer, and I got into this whole thing, and I became a drummer for the church, now I'm on high. All right, I'm going to work, I'm making money, and I'm a drummer. I'm the big dog. So, time goes on, and you know, I wanted to start drinking. I really did. And I had a couple friends, and I didn't know, at this time I haven't done any drugs. Speaking of drugs, give me a second. Okay, so at this point, I'm not really doing anything. The only thing I like to do is drink. And I just go to this party every weekend. This party I went to, man, we would drink so much. At the end of some nights, I would look back and go, golly, how much are we drinking? It was insane. So I like to do that. You know, I like to drink and I like to go back home and just pass out. And so I really started drinking a lot. I really started getting into it. And now, some people knew about it. And I had gotten in trouble before. I don't remember. Now, this part I don't remember. I don't remember what made them know that I drank. Okay, I don't know if somebody told on me or if I came out and said something. But for some reason, the church knew that I would drink. They knew that I would drink. But they didn't have a big problem with it because I told them I stopped. I told them I'd go get help for it, blah, blah, blah. And so I did. And the funny thing, now this is what's going to lead up to this next part. I quit drinking, right? I quit drinking. But I tried to go to a recovery group at another church because ours didn't have one. And when I went to this other recovery group, they told me I could not go to this recovery group for the alcohol because it was another church and they didn't want people to know that I had a drinking problem. So you want me to figure out how not to drink anymore? And then when I go to another church that has a recovery program for people like me, you don't want me to go? You want me to find another way? What do you, pretty much essentially what they were saying is, you can't do that. You're going to have to pray and just stop. That's silly. That's silly. You want me to just pray that the addiction goes away? Okay, fine, fuck it. So we went with that route, and I prayed it away, and I quit drinking right now. One day, I was at a party, and I was drinking as usual. And I would never, and to this day, I still do not know. Somebody took a picture of me drinking. All right? Now, understand, when I went to this party, it was 2 or 3 weeks before this next incident. That picture that was taken of me drinking, literally, from that day forward, I had quit drinking. And I went on to not drink for 4 years from that picture. 3 weeks goes by. So now at this point, I haven't had a drink in 3 weeks. By the time I get called in one day, and they tell me that they had this picture of me drinking. And I tell them, I said, I didn't even fight it, actually. I didn't even fight it. At this point, I did not care anymore. I was just like, I was kind of one of those weird kids. I was one of those weird teens, twins, whatever you call them. I was one of those where I made my life, I was melodramatic. I got really into movies. I got really into shows because I always felt like I was the main character back then. So when it happened, I was like, oh, this is gonna sound so fucking dumb. But when it happened, I was thinking in my head like, this is the moment that's gonna change my life. I'm getting kicked off my worship team. So now this means my projection is gonna be better because this is the kind of shit that happens in movies. Like, you do something right, but you still get punished, and then you become the best drummer known to man. And so that's why I didn't say anything. And I know everybody's gonna think, what? I know. It was dumb. It was dumb as shit. Speaking of dumb as shit, I'm gonna smoke right quick. Because now I'm kind of getting into this story. I might need to make a trailer for this story time, for this series, because this story comes with a lot of deception and a lot of terrible things, including myself. I wouldn't say I was part of the fall. Like I said before, I made an impact. That's it. I did not lead to the fall of this church. I just simply had an impact. All of us did. All of us did. And none of us, as far as I know, have seen each other since the fall. Anyway, where were we? So I get this picture taken and I do my whole melodramatic movie shit, because even then I walked 5-6 miles back to my friend for him to take me back home. This whole damn situation was stupid, and I would never want to go back. Not just the church thing, but where I was living, how I had to get a ride, the money, everything sucked about this time. This is probably one of the worst points in my life, and this is worse than when I was homeless. This is one of the worst moments of my life. From like 19 to 22, I fucking dreaded almost more than I did high school. Okay, so after that, I walk all the way back to my friend to get a ride home, right? And that was it, guys. And that was it. That was the last time I ever drummed for this church. And by this time in the story, I've been drumming for the church for about 1.5 years, right? Now, a lot goes into that and what's going on with Drummer Boy, but for the sake of this series in the rise and fall, I'm not going to tell my whole story because that whole story is more personal. It really didn't really impact the church. So after that, I never drummed for this church again. They took me off the team. They took me off the youth. I was no longer allowed to be around the kids. And I was no longer allowed to be a youth leader. All I could do was show up to the church, come and go. And that was it. That's all I could do. Come and go. Okay? Now, there is a second part to this, and I'm going to go ahead and tell that part of the story. So, in the midst of all this happening, about 3 months prior to that, 3 or 4 months prior to that, I have been drumming for this church religiously every Sunday, even while I was drunk. I was good. Always on time, always there, always knew the songs. I got replaced because of this drinking problem, I believe. But even though this happened before I got caught this time, I got replaced by another drummer who we didn't even know. He showed up to the church, and not only did we didn't know him, he was in love with this girl that he never ended up marrying. Both of them are not important to me. But this is another thing that impacted, to me, the fall of how they treated people. Now, at the point that I got replaced as a drummer, now, I had only shown up to church once drunk. That was it. That was the only time I had ever done it in a year and a half. I made a mistake and I went too long. I just overslept, honestly. I could have showed up to church drunk. I'd have been fine. It was because I overslept. So anyway, 3 months prior to this, right? This guy showed up. Don't know his name. Never seen him before. He showed up and said, pretty much, he's going to be the drummer. And that wasn't even told to me. Nobody even told me that. Not only was this guy going to be the drummer, this guy was going to get paid to be the drummer. Paid more than I've ever gotten paid. I got paid very little to be a drummer. I got paid $50 a week to be the drummer. This dude was going to get paid like $200 because he was better than me, because he was a little bit been playing longer for me. He was a little bit more refined than me. Bullshit. They just didn't want me to be the drummer anymore. Maybe because of the drinking thing. Like I said, with my drink, I only messed up that one time, so there was really no reason for them to just get me out of there. So they kicked me off as the drummer. So I was still drumming for the youth team at this time, but I'm no longer the Sunday drummer. Which is wild. After all the work I put in, they replaced me like I was nothing. This is the kind of shit that they would do that ultimately led to their downfall. But they just kicked me off for no reason outside of that. Like I said, the whole drinking thing, yes. But like I said, at this point in time, I'm going to reiterate, I had only shown up to church drunk that one time. And it was never even said to me that I was drunk. Only I knew I was drunk. Maybe they smelled it on my breath, I'm not sure. But the point was, I was there. And I had been loyal. And I had one bad night, like I was the only person drinking in the church. Come on. So they put me on what you call the congas, hand drums. And I was excellent at it because I said it before, I'm gifted in everything. I still stole the attention. People still love, people would come to the church to watch me play the congas because it was fun to watch. I was good at it. So you can't take me out the game no matter where you put me. I'm going to have an impact. It is a blessing and a curse, but if you meet me in real life and you work with me, I'm going to have an impact in your life. I'm sorry, not everybody's life, but there's a good chance my presence will be known. I don't try to do that, but I try to stay out the limelight, actually, because I don't like it, but can't help it sometimes. Anyway, in this case, that's just what happened. And I got kicked off, and I was never, and then from that moment, 3 months after that moment is what led up to the picture, and that's where we are. I say all that to say this, just to keep helping the story move along. That getting kicked off the drummer and not getting to be a drummer anymore for no reason at all, just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous, but whatever. So that's the second part of this the rise and fall. I'm no longer the drummer. Keep that in mind. We lost the pastor we still have from the original story. And at this point, I'm still a drummer, and I'm now being kicked off the drum team. This is where the fall starts, okay? There's a lot more in between here and there, and I will throw that in part 3. I'll give more of a kind of a big background to get up to this, but you needed to know these 2 parts first, okay? Thank you for stopping by. Peace.